Icon, Reverend Jesse Jackson, called home after 84 years on this earth today. He was with Dr. King in the 60s, towered above other Democrats in the 80s and 90s and beyond. He would change what it meant to be a performer as a politician. First black presidential candidate to run a seriously competitive national campaign. Came in second in 1988 after winning several states and millions of votes, and he did not have the party infrastructure with him. He paved the way for what Obama would ascend to in 2008. Jackson, to me, is a reminder of what is missing today. He had passion and purpose and authenticity, and he could elevate. Just listen to this man.
You must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. If blacks vote in great numbers, Hispanics win. When blacks, Hispanics, and progressive whites vote, women win. When women win, children win. When women and children win, workers win. We must all come up together. We must leave racial battleground and come to economic common ground and moral higher ground. America, our time has come.
Keep hope alive. It would resonate, convention after convention, state after state, and still does now. The question is, how do we keep hope alive in the absence of Reverend Jackson? Joining me now is his eldest daughter, Santita, and one of his closest friends and colleagues, my friend, Professor Michael Eric Dyson. Santita, I'm so sorry for the loss of the family. I'm so hopeful that you guys have one another and that you lean on each other. That's what we have to do in these situations. But are you able, in the midst of the grief, to appreciate how many of us are so thankful for your father's example?
Well, you know, it has become very clear throughout the day, the impact that he's had nationally and internationally. It's been a wonderful thing to see. I have to tell you, Chris, first of all, I have so much admiration and respect for you. Got a chance to really become acquainted with you and your family in 1984 at the convention, when your father electrified us with his opening night speech. And we've had so much respect for your father, for your brother, for your whole family. I tell you, what we have seen with Reverend Jesse Jackson is someone who had courage, someone who was willing to put his life on the line. He was willing to die for that for which he believed. Most people did not expect for him to live through that campaign. Indeed, he was the first candidate in history, I think, to get his Secret Service protection either the first day that he ran or the second day that he had announced his candidacy. He was the most threatened candidate in history. And in fact, some U.S. senators in an encyclopedia, a political encyclopedia, made note of that. They said, we cannot believe that we see this American putting on a bulletproof vest and a bulletproof coat to talk about diversity, equity, fairness, inclusion for red, yellow, black, brown, and white. It was just inconceivable to them. And so what we're looking at with Reverend Jackson is someone who was an unreconstructed populist who ran as a black man. So there were so many things, so many rules that he was breaking, but he was willing to break them because he was trying to get us into a new America, just like your father was doing.
My father was, as you know, a big fan. I can still see in my mind him shaking Jesse's hand. You know, they started from like way back here. And when they clasped hands, I remember him looking at me and showing me Jesse's hand and his stature. My father believed that, you know, the physical and the spiritual and the intellectual all go together. And your father just was an amazing combination of attributes. And Michael, I know that can sound a little shallow to people, but Jesse's size, his looks, his presentation, his projection, I don't want to be shallow about it, but he really was a package. I don't know that Jesse Jackson would have been the same man at 5'7" that he was as the towering figure that he was.
Yeah, I can testify, no. Not because that's my height. So look,
but you know what? But
I'll tell you.
Yes.
When I first met him, I was the professor. That's not the first time I met him, but when I really met him, I met him in '84, and when I was a teenager at church in Detroit. So I met him then. But when I really got acquainted with him in 1989, when his son, Jesse Jackson Jr., was my student at Chicago Theological Seminary. And I must tell you, when I went to the house to have dinner, he was gorgeous. I don't know what else to tell you. I was stunned at how good looking he was. I mean, you know, the mustache trim, the fro was nice and puffed at the right level, skin shining. And I was like, man, this guy is like astonishing. And then to hear the eloquence, the intelligence, the poetry, the determination that he would rise above any obstacle or impediment imposed upon him arbitrarily and use that as a fuel to embrace Black people and white people and poor Latinos and Asian folk and the like, LGBTQIA, was a remarkable thing. So what you're referring to is the kind of stature that was manifest in him, but it was the moral and political and spiritual stature that matched that embodiment. But that embodiment had to hit you first. And when he hit you with all of that 6'4", you know, power and masculinity, remember, this was at a time when Black masculinity was a threat to many people in this country. Sidney Poitier had to be real cool, man, real cool. He couldn't show a sexual side. Jesse Jackson was the embodiment, along with Muhammad Ali, of the unreconstructed, as his daughter has brilliantly said here, Black masculinity that instead of threatening America was the embodiment of those ideals that had been denied and that no one could in any way reject.
Well, Santita, I can tell you this. We don't have another one out there right now, and that's okay, because the legacy will live on, and we will play his words in big moments when the midterms come up. The issues this year are going to be right in his wheelhouse. And unfortunately, like with my father, he won't be here, but his message will be. His strength will
But
be.
they're still here. Chris, they're with us. And, you know, I think that we have to give your father and my father a lot of credit for breaking through and making a new America. I'm always struck by your father as an Italian American, the prejudices that he had to fight. And yet he persevered. I look at my father as a top tier candidate. He was the first one to assert that he would put a woman on the ticket. So yes, we got Barack Obama, but we got Geraldine Ferraro and then Elizabeth Dole, and he just broke so many, and Bernie Sanders, so many, not just phenotypic, but philosophical barriers he broke. And I just hope that we can take inspiration from that and build a new America, the real America, the America of our aspirations, the America of our inspiration. The struggle continues if we continue with the struggle, and that is what he did until his dying day.
Well, I'll never forget him. And I wish you and the family all the best. Michael, I know this is difficult for you, but you got to look at it this way. What an amazing man to be around, and that you had that kind of intimacy and exposure is going to mean something to you forever. Let me know if there's anything I can do. Anything the family decides that they want, I'm a call away. Santita, all the best to everybody. Michael, thank you, brother, for being with me. All right, God bless the family. God bless the family. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.